Hello, everybody, all you quackers and quackettes, and welcome to the Quackcast. This is Finals Week, people, and I am so excited to get this show going. As you'll see, I'm by myself again. My co-hosts are lazy. No, I'm kidding. They are all busy with life things. So I'm here to hold down the fort because I have no life. Anyway, we're gonna have a great show for y'all today. We're gonna be going in depth on the semifinal matches, which I'm gonna get roasted about. I'm guarantee it. And the finals, which I'm also gonna get roasted about. I guarantee it. And the people out there who are gonna roast me, you know who you are. If you're even out there watching. But anyway, my name is Raptor, and welcome to the Quackcast. As I said, this is the finals show, and I am really excited. This was a great week of matches. It was, especially that Deep Sea division. It held up, and I may not have gotten all my predictions right, but I was right in saying that we have a great lineup of games, and I can't wait to hop into them. But first, I want to know, how are y'all in chat doing today? It's what is it, Thursday? It's Thursday the 19th. Right, because finals start tomorrow, if you didn't know. I'll get into the matchups later, but Shallows and Deep Sea, they play their finals tomorrow at 8 and the third place matches, which I'll also be talking about those as well. You can't forget about the third place matches. And then the Abyss finals and third place match will be played on Saturday, and all of those will be casted. All of the finals matches, I guarantee you, I promise you, they will be casted. Go Blue! Hold on. You see that? You see that, Red? You see that? That was no accident. I promise you that. All right. Anyway. Yeah, so we just have fun here, and normally I'm joined by I'm joined by a couple other goobers, so we can talk about stuff. But nope, I'm alone again this week. Hopefully next week, when we break down the finals and start talking about the next season, I'll be joined by someone. But this. It looks like Uchi, Uchi just requested make red drink with his channel points. I didn't even realize that was still enabled. Red, you gotta do it now, man. Red, you gotta do it. Uchi redeemed the points. Oh my gosh, I really had no idea that that was still active. That's hilarious. It has been done. Hey. 5,000 points. I forgot how much you made it because of the draft. Anyway, let's just hop right into it. This will probably be a shorter episode, but I really want to go in depth about these upcoming matches, especially the finals, which, as I said, they will all be casted. We will be casting the Shallows finals live on Friday, or tomorrow, I guess. And then, hold on. Yeah, all right. Sorry about that, but we'll be casting the Shallows finals tomorrow. I believe that one got moved up to 7, so we'll be streaming it at 7. Which that one's gonna be hype. It really is. It's the two best teams, and like undisputed best teams going head to head. I'll be talking about that one a little bit later. Then we got the Deep Sea finals on Saturday. That's gonna be a fantastic matchup. I think it's gonna be the best of the three to watch. And all of these are best of 5s, by the way. And so I'm not gonna have a voice because for 4 days straight, I'll most likely be talking nonstop. But hey, you get to see my beautiful face. So you all should be happy, maybe. Are you guys happy to see me? Who knows? And then Sunday, we get the Abyss matchup, and I'm super excited. Mostly because we haven't streamed an Abyss match. We haven't casted an Abyss match all season, and these are the two best teams. And so it's gonna be a lot of fun. We got a huge week of games, a huge week of streams to go through, and so speaking of Abyss, what do you say we just hop right in and talk about this Abyss matchup? And so now, yet again, you see the 404 error there, kind of recapping what we've seen in the bracket so far. Reapers, Tyrannos, they double forfeited, so neither moved on, and the 4-man got a free pass into the finals. Meanwhile, the Spacemen, they won in a forfeit against the Swarm, and they actually played their semifinal match against the Patricians last night. And it happened in heartbreaking fashion, people. So if you know anything about the Spacemen, you'll know that, well, if you know anything about the Abyss division, period, you'll know that there's been an issue getting players to actually show up. And in the Spacemen's case, they've had 3 consistent players show up, and then they've pulled up players from the Starhoppers from other teams to fill out the 5 men that they need to play that game, to play the set. Last night, the Spacemen actually got all 5 actual Abyss players, actual players on the Spacemen roster to play, and they won game 1. This ended up being a 2-1 set in favor of the Patricians. And how it happened is that Wetchy, the ADC for the Spacemen, if he was playing ADC, I'm not honestly sure what he was playing last night, because there are no screenshots to go back and look. But I believe he was, because I feel like I remember him mentioning Jingwei. Anyway, Wetchy, he was playing from the airport. Yes, the Spacemen won game 1 with one of their players on airport Wi-Fi. That's even worse than McDonald's Wi-Fi, people. And they did it. Unfortunately, he had to go because he had to get on his plane. And the Spacemen couldn't find a sub in time, so they had to forfeit the rest of the set, which means that the Patricians do move on. Now, it's very unfortunate what happened. The Patricians are a solid team. I would not have been surprised if they would have won the set anyway. But to move on like that, for that to be the way you move on, it just doesn't feel good. It doesn't. It can't feel good for any party to that's how you move on. It's really unfortunate scenarios, and I wish that I had a screenshot of game 1 so I could see, how long the game went, who played what, who played where, all of that. At the moment, I only know who was in the Spaceman VC, and that's because I can see their VC. And I could see their VC last night and see who was in it. I couldn't see the Patricians VC, so I don't even know who was on that team, who was playing. I really wish that we had screenshots of game 1 so I could make a bit of a deeper analysis of this game, because this was a matchup that I was hyped for before I even found out that the Spacemen were going to be playing with 5 Abyss players. Normally, as I mentioned, they have 3 players, Zach, Lycon, and Wetchy, who have been constants, and then they've had to fill in those other 2 spots. Those other 2 spots normally filled by Animated and Snowy, who couldn't play at that time. And so 2 other Spacemen stepped up and actually played, and that's got to be that's a good feeling. It really is. 2 guys that hadn't really played at all this season. I think CJ Lopez played 1 set early on, and is it Miji? He was a captain at one point. We were announcing his name during freaking draft, and I still don't know how to pronounce his name. So if you're watching, I'm very sorry. But he hadn't played a set all season. He's able to step in for this game. They finally got 5 players, and Wetchy had to leave, and they couldn't get another player. And so it's really unfortunate what happened to the Spacemen. And like I said, I truly do believe, and I wouldn't have been surprised if the Patricians would have come back and won that set 2-1 anyway. I would not have been surprised. The Patricians is a very, very, very good team. But there's always going to be that question, would the Spacemen have moved on if Wetchy didn't have to get on a plane? Would the Spacemen be facing off against the Foreman if Wetchy was able to play Game 2? Would it have gone to Game 3 and would have not mattered? Who knows? It would have mattered if it had gone to Game number 3, because then the Starhoppers would have been finished with their set. There's always going to be these questions, and I think that's unfair to the Patricians. As I said multiple times, as I'm going to keep saying, the Patricians are a very, very good team. They are a very good team. I'm not just saying that because they're in the Abyss Division, meaning that they're the top players in the QSL. I'm saying that because throughout the entire season, they've earned that number 2 seed. I would not have been surprised if they came back and won 2-1. But Game 2 and Game 3 were never played. So there's always going to be that question mark. Should the Spacemen have moved on? And it may never be answered. That is the truth. And this is not a shot at the Patricians. The Patricians, they earned that first round bye, and I truly believe that either team could have gone. And it's really unfortunate, and you can argue that it's not fair that the Patricians have this question mark about whether they should be in or not. But they can replicate that on Saturday. They'll be facing the Foreman. The Foreman, undisputed top team in the Abyss Division. They played earlier this season, and the Foreman won 2-0. The Foreman have not dropped a single game in the Abyss Division. Now, this is a best of 5, meaning that they'd have to win 3 games in order to grab the cup. And in all honesty, the Foremen have it. This is going to be a fantastic, fantastic set to cast on Sunday. But the Foremen, they're the undisputed best team. And the Patricians, they've got a chip on their shoulder. You got to think. There's all these question marks. Should the Patricians even be here? Would the Spacemen have been here if it wasn't for those circumstances? If the Spacemen did not have to forfeit games 2 and 3, would it be Foreman versus Spacemen instead of Foreman versus Patricians? The Patricians have to put that past them, but it's always going to be in their minds, and I think that gives them a little bit of motivation. Because if they come out and even taken the Foreman to a Game 5, I think that they would have reprimanded and proven that they deserve to be here. That the Patricians, they could have won. I've been saying this time and time again. I would not have been surprised if the Patricians would have come back and won 2-1 against the Spacemen after dropping that first game. I would not have been surprised. The Patricians are that good of a team. But you add on the extra motivation of that question mark being there, and wholeheartedly, I think that the Patricians can make this a set. If it was not for that, I'm going to be completely honest here. If it was not for that extra bit of motivation, I'd say Foreman 3-0. I think Foreman they're just that good. They are fantastic. They are the best team in the QSL this season. No one in any of the divisions, not especially not lower, not in their own. The Foremen, they are the best team in the division. I have no doubts. I think that even the Foreman's B game is equal to the Patrician's A game. That's how good they are. This Patrician's team, or Foreman team, I'm sorry, has not dropped a single game. Do you know how hard that is to do? Now, given there were a lot of forfeits, you gotta wonder if any of that would have changed if the Swarm had played any of their games, if the Reapers had played more than one game, if the Tyrannos didn't have to forfeit against them. You gotta wonder if that would have changed, but I wholeheartedly believe that wouldn't have. Because the Foremen are just that good of a team. if you want my honest opinion, and by the way, I was right. Even though it was under unfortunate circumstances, I was right about my prediction. I said 2-1 to the Patricians in the semifinals match. And they did win 2-1, again under unfortunate circumstances. And I really do wish I could dive deeper into that game, but unfortunately I don't have any screenshots from it. No one streamed as far as I know, so I couldn't watch it after the fact. I really wish I could have dove in deeper into that game number 1, just so I could see, who did well, what went right, all of that. But we don't have that, so we'll never know what happened in that game number 1 between the Patricians and the Spacemen. That said, I'm giving this 3-1 to the Patricians. Or to the Foremen. I'm sorry. Not the Patricians. I'm giving this 3-1 to the Foremen. I think the Patricians can take a game off of the Foremen. Do I think they win the set? That's a very, very, very steep climb. They have to climb Mount Everest and then some in order to beat the Foremen. That's how big of a gap I think there is between these teams. And again, that's not a shot at the Patricians. The Patricians are a fantastic team. They really are. They earned that number 2 seed. But I think the Foremen are just that much better. I could see this going 3-0, but I'm going to give the Patricians a game. I think the Foremen win this 3-1 on Saturday. But I'm curious what you guys think. You guys in the chat, how do you feel about the Foremen and the Patricians? I am putting up a poll right now where you can vote. And just let me know. Do you think I'm an idiot? Do you think the Patricians deserve to be here? Do you think the Patricians could have very easily beaten the Spacemen in games 2 and 3 and that question mark isn't there? I want to know, because this set, in my mind, it's pretty cut and dry. I think the Foremen are just that good of a team. I think they are very easily the best team in the QSL right now. But the poll is up if you guys want to vote there. But this is... Lineman said it in chat. If you don't know, Lineman is the owner of the Crew, which is the organization that the Foremen are a part of. He said it best. This is going to be an old-fashioned showdown, because it is. These are two very aggressive, very talented teams. And truthfully, like I said, I think the Foremen are just that much better. I think the Foremen very easily could take this 3-0, but I'm going to give the Patricians a game. I think the Patricians can, and I think they will take a game off of the Foremen. And that will ease some of the questions of should they have been there in the first place, would the Spacemen have beat them. I think that will ease some of the questions if they can take at least a game off the Foremen. If they take it to 5, I think those questions are out the door. But as it stands right now, the Patricians, they have to live and they have to play with that question mark above their heads. And I think because of that, they do take a game off. I think they will. But I don't think that they win the set. I think that it will go 3-0 to the Patricians, or to the Foremen. Why do I keep getting them mixed up? It's to the Foremen. 3-0 to the Foremen, and I don't think it's relatively close. Lyman, you think it's going to go to 5, really? I'm honestly shocked by that. I've given my reasoning. The Foremen, they haven't dropped a game yet all season. They've already beaten the Patricians 2-0. Honestly, I believe Chef is a true menace. That is true. Chef is a menace, but the Foremen, you just got such a good team. You really do. And Chef, you like you said, Chef might be the win con for the Patricians, but in all honesty, the Patricians, that might be good enough to get them a game. Which I did say, the Patricians, I believe they will take a game off the Foremen. I don't think they win the set, though. I don't think they even go to 5. I hope it does, just because that's fun. That's a fun set. That's fun Smite to watch. But I don't know if I believe enough in the patricians to take 2 games off of the foreman. I think I truly do believe it will go 3-1. I truly do believe we'll be getting a game 4. And I can't say which game. I can't predict which game the patricians will take, game 1, 2, or 3. Who's on the teams? I've actually got to look at the rosters. I completely forget. I remember watching them multiple times, and that's how I know, like, that's how I made my predictions about these teams. But I don't remember who all is on the team. Where are the rosters? Am I just blind? Is this it? No, it's not. I cannot find the rosters right now. Where even are they? I don't. I couldn't tell you who all is on the teams. NMR. I really should have prepared better for this. But the foremen, they've just been the better team. From what I've seen, and again, the Abyss division has been such an issue as far as playing games this year that it's a very small sample size. But the foremen, they've comfortably beaten the patricians already. They've comfortably beaten the spacemen. Both teams that they could have been playing in this finals match. And I think that I truly do think it'll go 3-0 foreman. And that's going to be my final prediction. And looking at the polls, it looks like you all agree as well that the foreman will take this set. And on that note, let's head on over to the minors division, the deep sea division. One second. Let me transfer back over here. So the foremen have Kaizo, Dr. Dilf, Slayer, Rigid, and Frost. Just reading those names, I'm more convinced to say 3-0 because there are some solid names on there. I honestly forgot who all was on that team, which I can't believe I did forget because Kaizo was brought over from the Spacemen for a trade. That's a very solid group right there. And I'm gonna stick to my guns. 3-1. I'm gonna move on to the deep sea now. 3-1 to the foreman is my prediction for this set. And so moving on to deep sea, we had the ferrymen defeating the Starhoppers 2-1, and the journeymen defeating the Raptors 2-1. Now, am I allowed to toot my own horn a little bit? I did not. I kind of played safe, and I got roasted for it. I kind of played safe last week. I did say that I could see any combination of any score for this division. I could see the Starhoppers versus Raptors. I could see Ferrymen versus Journeymen. I could see any combination of those. So I did play safe, but my predictions were 2-1 to Ferrymen and 2-1 to Raptors. Now, I got the Raptors wrong, obviously. But, man, the Journeymen, if you could have heard them last week, they were giving me crap for even considering the possibility that this could have gone to 3 games. They were convinced that they would have taken this 2-0. And when I said 2-1 to Raptors, I meant no disrespect to the Journeymen. I had said that the Journeymen are the scariest and most complete team in the division. But, and this is a big but, the Raptors had a chip on their shoulder. The Journeymen were the team to knock them out of that first week bye in the very last week. The Raptors had motivation. And truthfully, I really did believe that the Raptors could have knocked down this Journeyman. I know that was an unpopular opinion, but I mean, they took them to 3 games, which a lot of people were saying wasn't going to happen. And so, I'm going to pat myself on the back there a little bit. But in the end, you all were right. The Journeymen did defeat the Raptors 2-1. And, I mean, a lot of that was Gumbo in the jungle. Gumbo went nuts. It's actually crazy what he did. 11-1 on Hebo Jungle, 15-5 on Lancelot. It's crazy what he did in their wins. It's absolutely insane. Gumbo went off, and he has been. Oh, Gumbo did get a pentakill with Lance. Oh. Yeah, just proves my point even more. Gumbo has been. This is not a shot at anyone on the Journeyman, but Gumbo has been the make or break for the team. I picture the Journeyman a lot like the Bolts, except a more consistent Bolts. Because when the jungler is doing well, which Gumbo normally does, the Journeymen are solid, and the Journeymen are scary, and the Journeymen are really, really good. If Gumbo is having kind of an off game, that's when it gets scary for the Journeymen. And that's not a shot at the other 4 players on that team. The Journeymen are the most complete team in the division. I will sing their praises up and down all the way to Sunday. But this team kind of lives and dies by how well Gumbo does. And if you look at their next match, they're facing the Ferrymen. The Ferrymen are a team that will not just let Gumbo run all over you. Now, I'm not saying the Raptors are a team that will do that, but Gumbo is the lifeblood of this team. And again, that's not a shot at the rest of the Journeymen. The Journeymen are an incredibly solid team as a whole. They are a great team, and I think that I'm going to say it. I think the Journeymen should have been the number 1 seed. Now, obviously things happen in the regular season where that didn't happen. The Journeymen end up fighting for that 2nd seed in the very last week. But I think that it's not crazy to say the Journeymen are the best team in the Deep Sea Division. Which is why I got roasted so much for saying I thought the Raptors would beat them. And again, I'll admit it. I did say 2-1 to the Raptors, and it ended up going 2-1 to the Journeymen. But that was just because I had a bit of belief in the Raptors, and I thought a bit of motivation would put them past. And it looks like they played really, really well, but they could not shut down Gumbo. Gumbo just could run around, as Craig says in chat. And credit to the Journeymen as a whole. They've earned this. They've earned to play in the finals. But it was not easy in this set from what I can tell. Well, maybe the second game was, because I am seeing, or the last win was, because I am seeing, wait, what did I just click on? I'm trying to look at the screenshots right now. Craig, your screenshots, I don't know what to make out of them. Is this? Okay, that's the second game. Put your screenshots in order, Craig. Good God. But no, this Journeyman team, they've earned it. They really did. Not without a little bit of fight from the Raptors. I mean, look at the Raptors win in what I'm assuming is game number 2. I'm assuming it's the last picture in the of the screenshots that Craig posted, but I think this is game number 2. Or game number 1. I don't know which one the Raptors won. But X Sup went 2-1, 2-1-10 on the Umoja. I'm Sino 7-0-4 on the Cupid. 3-0-9 for Rich on the Tiamat. 1-0-11 for Bud Nen on the Jing. 4-2-9 for Kexon on the Lancelot. This Raptors team, they had a little bit of fight in them. You cannot deny that. And, I mean, even in the game that they lost, even in that last game, I'm assuming game 3. Again, I don't know the order of these, Craig. Maybe you can shed a bit of light on which ones are which. Because the Raptors won game 1. Okay. And then game 2. Was Corbin on the Cthulhu or was Corbin on the Kukulkan? Because I assume that it was game 2, game 3, game 1. Either way, it does not matter. Looking at this game where the Raptors lost, 6-7-11 for Kexon. X-Sup had a bit of a rough game going 1-6 on Ymir. Bud Nen had a rough game going 2-6 on the Kukulkan. But I'm Sino went 7-7 on Donza. Rich went 7-4 on the Kronos. They had win conditions. And if it wasn't for Gumbo's 15-5, that very well could have gone to the Raptors. Which is why I'm saying Gumbo is really where the lifeblood of this team is. They like to play through Gumbo. They like to get him ahead. And it's working for them unless you can shut him down, which is where the problems have started to arise for the Journeyman if Gumbo doesn't get going. And I mean, when in the game where Gumbo went 11-1, listen to the stat line for the Raptors. 1-3, 0-3, 1-3, 1-6, 0-5. Gumbo really took off, and the rest of the team rallied behind him. This Journeyman team, they don't live and die behind Gumbo. But if Gumbo doesn't go off, then they don't win as convincingly as we normally see them do. And that's going to be a little scary going against the Ferrymen. Now, I know a lot about this game because I played in the Starhoppers vs. Ferrymen. I was the mid laner for the Starhoppers because Clucknuts did not show up. And if you have watched me cast the Starhoppers at any point in the season, I have said the only way to beat them is to shut down Snowy and to shut down Clucknuts. If you shut down one or the other, it isn't going to work. Well, the Starhoppers, they didn't have Clucknuts this time. They had me, a washed-up mid laner. And we took them to the 3 games, which honestly surprised me. I'm not that good. I am washed in the end. But yeah, we took him to 3 games, and a big part of that was in game number 2. Snowy went huge as the Awelish, 2 Icy huge as the Rom. Animated looked fantastic on that Maui. Going 2-0-18. His ultimates were insane on that Maui. And then I was the 2-4-15 E-set who just kind of survived. And I was basically an alt bot. But every other game, Zarzith. How do you say it? It's Zarzith, right? Zarkzith? However you say it. You would think after casting her for 3 seasons now I would know how to say her name. I'm so sorry. But 7-1 in game number 1 on that Izanami. Game 2, she kind of got shut down a bit, went 1-2-3 on Kernanos. And then in game number 3, 6-0, 6-0-6 on the Charybdis. And they won 15-5 kills wise with 17.5k gold lead. In the games where the Ferrymen won, they were just able to run away with it. And a big part of that was that they didn't have to worry about Clucknuts in mid. And I'm very curious. Again, this is another question mark. If Clucknuts was there, would the Ferrymen have won? Because even with a backup mid, even with a Shallows player who hasn't played mid in 3 seasons, they were able to take the Ferrymen to a game number 3. Now, that's not fair to the Ferrymen. The Ferrymen they deserve to be in the finals, in my opinion. Starhoppers are a fantastic team. Starhoppers are a strong team. We've been saying it since the Quackcast started mid-season that the Starhoppers could make a run and they could very easily be champions by the end of the season. And they almost did. There's no other way to put it. The Starhoppers almost did. But the Ferrymen, they just showed up. They showed up and played extremely well Smite. And, in the end, that's all that really matters. It doesn't matter how you win. It just matters that you win. And in the games where the Ferrymen won, they absolutely stomped. And a lot of that is the Ferrymen rallying around Zarzith. Now, I've already read you her numbers, but in the mid lane, Bu went 2-0-9 on the Discordia in game number 3. Arrow, he didn't have the best of sets, in all honesty, but he was a madman in the jungle. He made sure that the carries were constantly under their towers, then couldn't really do anything, which allowed his carries to step up and gain massive leads. Sacrificial Pit played in games 1 and 2, and he looked fantastic as well in that mid lane role. In game number 3, he was subbed out for Letter to Myself, and they played a fantastic Maui in game number 3, taking that away from Animate and showing that Maui really was the pick to win the sets. And then finally, John Ossoff, he was a menace diving the back line. This Ferryman team, they can give the Journeymen a run for their money, and they will give the Journeymen for a run for their money. I predicted this to be the most fascinating and fun to watch division in the semifinals, and I'm sticking by that. I think we go to 5. I think we do. I think the Ferrymen and the Journeymen, they go to 5. I'm back and forth on which one I want to give the edge to. I really am, because both these teams are fantastic. Both these teams have win conditions. Both these teams have players that they rally around and win and play through. Zarzith on the Ferrymen and Gumbo on the Journeymen. It's the battle of the men. I just put that together. But Ferrymen versus Journeymen. I think this goes to 5. I don't think that's a hot take. I think everyone's expecting this one to go to 5. These are two teams that very easily could be making a run in the Abyss division. Maybe not finals worthy, because as we've already stated, the Patricians, the Foremen, and even the Spacemen, they earn their spots in those playoffs. But these are two teams that you could be seeing a lot of the players move up to the Abyss division next season. And if I had to make a prediction, I'm going to say 3-2 to the Journeymen, which means that I'm giving Lineman Nelson his second ring this season as an Orgoner. And we still have one more. Or no. Yeah. I forgot the Apprentice is lost, but I think that the Journeymen, they take down the Foremen, or the Ferrymen. Gosh darn it. I think it's going to be 3-2. I think we go to 5. And I'm going to give you a little spoilers. I think this is the only set we go to 5 this weekend. That's not to say that the other two aren't close matches. But this is the set that I see going to 5. And in game number 5, it's a toss-up. I could see either team winning, and it really just depends on how it's played on map. But I think that the Journeymen, I think they have the better all-around roster. I think that they have the better play style. I think that in a battle between who can carry harder, I think Gumbo does. And that was a very bad wording, because I don't think either of these guys carry the team. The team just plays through them, and they like to get them a little bit ahead and let them run with that while they take care of their own stuff. The teams are very good as a whole. They're very good 5-man squads. I'm saying the Journeymen take this 3-2. That's my prediction. And I'm very surprised not to see more Journeymen in the chat roasting me for thinking the Raptors would win last week. Does this make up for it? Saying that you beat the Ferrymen? Man, I truly do believe. I'm 100% saying Journeymen beat the Ferrymen 2-0. 3-2. I'm a mess today. I need the chart to go back. I do. But it's a tough one to call. It is, but the Journeymen, they're the more complete team. I think Gumbo is a better player to play through than Zarzith. And I think that the playing through the jungle will give the Journeymen the edge over the Ferrymen who are trying to play through the carry lane. The only thing that I think the Ferrymen are better than the Journeymen are at, and I could be completely wrong with this. Again, I don't know comms. I don't know what is going through players' heads. I think the Ferrymen are better at identifying the weak links, and they like to attack those weak links. And with the Journeymen, I don't know any of their weak links, but if a team was to find them, I think the Ferrymen would be the team to do that. And so, for all I know, the Journeymen don't have any weak links. They, like I said, they look like the most complete team in the division. But if there is one, and if the Ferrymen can exploit it, I think the Ferrymen are the team to do that. And I think that's why this game goes to 5. This set goes to 5. I'm still saying Journeymen win 3-2. But if there is a bit of a crack, the Ferrymen are the team to find that. The Ferrymen are the team to exploit that. And the Ferrymen are the team to use that to take us to that game 5. And I just realized I didn't do a poll for this. I kind of went on a tangent. I'm sorry. So let me get that poll up right now, because I want to know what you guys think. Ferrymen versus Journeymen. This is a 1 versus 2 seed yet again. I'm pretty sure all of our finals matches are 1 seeds versus 2 seeds. Because the Foremen were number 1 seed, Patricians number 2. Ferrymen number 1 seed, Journeymen number 2. And then we'll be getting into the Shallows division in just a second. But let me get this poll up for y'all so you guys can speak your voice. Kinda, I guess. Would you consider this speaking your voice? I don't know. But polls up. Go ahead and vote. Do you think the Ferrymen or the Journeymen take this set? I think I've already said my piece on why I think not only the Journeymen win this, but why I think the Ferrymen take this to a game number 5. These are 2 very good teams, very complete teams, very solid teams that know what they like to do in game, what they want to do on like just micro play is solid, macro play is solid, game plans are solid for both these teams. I really just think it comes down to who can play through their player the most? Do the journeymen play through Gumbo the best, or do the ferrymen play through Zarzith the best? And I think that Gumbo is the better option, and I'm sticking by it. Journeyman 3-2 to the ferryman. That is my final answer. And no one is voting. You guys just not want me to put up polls? I only get like 1 or 2 votes max each time. Yes, Buckwheat, I'm alone again. No one likes me. Charlie's busy, and Charlie and Owen are busy. So I'm alone today because I don't have a life outside of the QSL. And so I am here for your viewing pleasure or displeasure. Who am I to judge? Looks like we did get a vote. Journeyman is the fan favorite by one person. It was 1-0. Should I put up a poll for asking if you want me to put up polls? Would that be ironic? Would it be a good irony or bad irony? Either way, let's move on to the Shallows division. And the Shallows division, this is one. Buckwheat, you're on the team that I'm referencing here. I got hated on for saying that the Mighty Horns would win 2-0 because I praised the Apprentices. I said that the Apprentices were one of, if not the best team fighting team in the division. And I stand by that. I really do. The Apprentices have a solid team fight. They just know what they like to do in those team fights. And if it's an even fight, I think they win. And I also said Mighty Horns 2-0. Because despite the Apprentices' team fight and their team fighting ability, I didn't believe that the games would even get to that phase. Because while I said Apprentices are number 1, number 2 in the team fighting department, they're number 4, possibly number 5 in the actual laning phase department in the division. Meanwhile, the Mighty Horns, they're the other team that could be number 1 or number 2 in the team fighting division. And I also put them at number 1 in the laning phase department. So as much as I like the Apprentices and how they team fight, I didn't think there was much of a chance that this game would even get to that phase. And from what I'm hearing from the game and just what I'm seeing in screenshots, it seems like that is exactly how it went. Now, some of the games were relatively close kill-wise. And even the Apprentices, they had a gold lead in game number 1. Which, hold on, am I reading this right? Oh, Frostpuffs and Apprentices already played? I was looking at the wrong screenshots. I'm sorry. Yeah. This looks more like it. The Apprentices absolutely got rolled. I'm very sorry about that. I was looking at the screenshots and I was thinking this was the match I was looking for. No, I was looking at Frostpuffs versus Apprentices, which I didn't even know that game was played already. So yeah, that's going to kind of hinder my talking points later. But we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about the Mighty Horns versus the Apprentices. And the Mighty Horns just kind of rolled over them. Game number 1, 21-6, over almost, 16K gold in the lead. Game number 2, 24-6, another 16K gold lead. Or this was 14K, sorry. The Mighty Horns just kind of rolled over them. And this is what I was scared about with the Apprentices. If it was even going into these fights, I could see fights going either way. These are two extremely good team fighting teams. The issue is the Mighty Horns are way better than the Apprentices in the laning phase. I think the Mighty Horns, when I was saying that last week, they missed that part because they all thought that I was saying the Apprentices were miles better than them. No, the Apprentices are equal with them, maybe slightly better. You can make arguments about it, but those two teams are equal in the team fighting phase. It does say Swarm is 6. That is my fault. That's supposed to be Frost Pups. That was an error on my end making this graphic. My apologies. That was a complete accident. I didn't even notice. So thanks for pointing that out, Buckwheat. Where was I? You made me lose my spot. Right. So that's what I think a lot of the Mighty Horns, when they were roasting me, or trying to roast me, I should say, I think that's what they missed. Because yes, I said the Apprentices are as good as you in the team fighting phase. Possibly and arguably slightly better. You can make arguments either way. I said that this game isn't going to make it to the team fighting phase. I said that the Mighty Horns are way, way, way better than the Apprentices in the laning phase. And from what I'm hearing and from the looks of the screenshots, that's exactly what happened. This game never got to the team fighting phase. If this was even, team fights very well could have been a coin toss, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. But Mighty Horns are just a better team. And now the Mighty Horns are going to face the Legion. Another 1v2 match, by the way. All three of our finals matches are 1v2 matches. Mighty Horns versus Legion. Now, this is an interesting one. Let me take a look real quick. I just need to see something to jog my memory. If you know anything about this show, you know that we don't plan very well on here. Crap, where is it? Here it is. All right. So the last time these two teams played, it went 2-1 in favor of the Mighty Horns. And if you want my honest opinion, I think this is a 3-0 for the Mighty Horns. And here's why. I've already mentioned Mighty Horns, number one team fighting team, or number one laning phase team, possibly tied with at number one with the Apprentices for team fighting team. Legion, if I had to rank them, they're the number 2 laning phase team, and then I put them at number 3. The Mighty Horns, they're going to have a bit more trouble than they did with the Apprentices in the laning phase. I don't see the Legion. They'd have to have, I'd say 5K plus in order to win in the team fighting phase. The Mighty Horns are just that good. The Mighty Horns are the best team. And I've been saying all night that I think the best teams made the finals. And I do. I think the Legion and the Mighty Horns are the best teams in the division. And I don't think there's any doubt about that. These are two of the most complete teams. The Mighty Horns, though, the Legion, I think, would be 7th seed, May 6th seed in first round bounce in the Deep Sea division. The Mighty Horns, I could see them go into the semifinals and taking a set 2-1 in the Deep Sea division. This Mighty Horns team is insanely good. They just are. I haven't seen a team in the Shallows division. Even before it was called Shallows, even before it was called what was it last? It was Amas, amateurs. What was it last? Ducklings. Ducklings was what this division was called the past few seasons. Before it was called Shallows, before it was called Ducklings, and all through that time, the Mighty Horns are the only team that I would confidently say could make a run in the Deep Sea Division. And I can see Buckwheat's chat right now that you belong in Shallows. Maybe that's true. Maybe as individual players, they all do belong in Shallows. But as a team, and as a team of 5, I have never seen an amateur team look so complete, look so solid at every stage in the game. Never. This Mighty Horns team is insane. Insanely good. The Legion are a solid team. Don't get me wrong. They're the number 2 seed for a reason. This Legion team is also very, very good. And if they were facing anyone else, I think even if they face a couple of the teams, the Priests and the Plebbies from the... no, who was it? Priests and Frost Foxes from the... Your Apprentices team was very good last season, lineman. Don't get me wrong. But I would say that they were first round bounces in the deep sea last season, much like I'm saying the Legion probably would be. The Mighty Horns, no lie, I could see them taking the Ferrymen to Game 3 and possibly winning. This Mighty Horns team is insanely good. The Legion, they've earned this spot. They are an insanely good team. The Legion, in my opinion, if they face, like I was saying, the Frost Foxes or the Priests, not the Priests, the Poets, they in this finals match, they win. This Legion team beats the lower level Deep Sea teams. The Mighty Horns, I could see them beating or at least competing with some of the upper echelon in the Deep Sea division. And I've already said the Jurymen, the Ferrymen, and the Starhoppers and the Raptors, all 4 of those teams are insanely good. And I put the Mighty Horns right up there with them. Again, Buckwheat said it that he belongs in Shallows. And maybe individually this team does. But as 5, I don't know what it is, but this team looks so complete. It's insane. It's really hard to bet against them. That's why I was giving so much praise to the Apprentices last week. Because the Apprentices, they are a good team, and they do what they do well, very well. I followed that up immediately without saying anything else by saying Mighty Horns 2-0. Because even though I gave the Apprentices all this praise and said nothing about the Mighty Horns, I knew the Mighty Horns would win 2-0. And that's nothing against the Apprentices. The Apprentices are a very good team. I think that Apprentices versus Legion would have been a very fun set to watch as a best of 5. Mighty Horns, though. I think the Mighty Horns 3-0 last season's Apprentices. I'm being completely honest here. This Mighty Horns team, I don't know how much credit I can give them. All I did was poke the sleeping bear. That's fine by me. If that's what it takes to make this an interesting set, then by all means do it. I just think that tomorrow the Mighty Horns will stomp the Legion. And that feels so bad to say because, as I've been saying, the Legion are a very good team. The Legion could be a very, very good Deep Sea team. Mighty Horns win 3-0. That's my prediction. That's my prediction. That's where I'm standing. I don't think the Legion take a game off of the Mighty Horns. And that's the first time I've said this all stream. I said the Patricians, despite how outmatched they are against the Foremen, that they take a game off the Foremen. The Ferrymen, despite the Journeymen being the more complete team, and that's not a hot take at all, that game goes to 5. These are two very good shallow level teams between the Legion and the Mighty Horns. Mighty Horns 3-0. I do not see a world where the Mighty Horns drop even a game. And if I'm proven wrong, prove me wrong. Like I said, I'm not perfect. I did say last week that the Raptors would beat the Journeymen, and that turned out not to be true. I'm not perfect. If the Legion take a game off the Mighty Horns, great. Legion aren't winning this set. I do not believe it. I don't. Let me put the poll up real quick so that you all can vote between the Legion and the Mighty Horns. But I just don't believe it. I really don't. I think the Mighty Horns sweep. The Mighty Horns get through this tournament without dropping a game. And that is 100% my opinion. You can like it, you can hate it. It's just what I think. Mighty Horns win 3-0. But the poll's up. Go ahead and vote for the team that you think will win between the Legion and the Mighty Horns. Strongly disagree, but you speak the truth of free speech. Hey, it's okay that you disagree. Apparently, even though I know that's you, Uchi, and Buckwheat voting for the Legion, I stand by it. I stand by it. As good of a team as the Legion is, and as much as I've been hyping the Legion up all season, I don't think they take a game off the Mighty Horns. And if that riles them up, if it gives them the motivation they need to win, then first of all, my apologies to the Mighty Horns. But secondly, then great. Then we have a fun set. You see, you're the bear, Uchi, but I know that you're going to go into your team's chat and use a clip from what was tonight, or reword repeat my words or something like that, and say this idiot, this dumbass doesn't believe in you. Pardon my French. And I'm sticking by my word. Mighty Horns 3-0 the Legion. I do not see the Legion taking a game off the Mighty Horns. I don't think that this is going to be relatively close either. Another Legion player definitely in the stream. I believe it. I would. But I'm not going to change my word. I'm really not. But I think the Mighty Horns are just that good of a team. I really do. And I completely stand by what I was saying about the Mighty Horns and what they could do in the deep sea. I think the Mighty Horns would very easily be a top 5 team, and the only reason I say top 5 is because I don't know if they could beat teams like the Starhoppers or the Raptors or the Ferrymen, but they would give them a run for their money. They really would. And it's honestly just insane how good this Mighty Horns team is. I cannot sing their praises enough. I really can't. And it really hurts to say this because I do like the guys on the Legion. And I know I'm probably going to be casting this set with Uchi tomorrow. So, I'm going to have that wild bear in my ear tomorrow. But I'm not going to change my word. Mighty Horns 3-0 over Legion. AFCU with bees. Oh, I don't know why I found that so funny. You just hit a funny bone, I guess. Also, what's up, Mary? But no, I've said it 5 times. I'm gonna say it again. I'm sticking by my word. Mighty Horns 3-0 the Legion. If this turns out to be a fun set to watch, then by all means, that'd be great. But I just don't see it happening. I think this is gonna be a stomp. And condolences to the Legion. Congrats on a fantastic season. You've definitely earned that number 2 seed. But I don't think there was ever a question who the number 1 seed was. I don't think there was ever a question who would be winning the ring at the end of the season. And as much as we like to try and give each team a fair chance on this show as casters, I just don't see it. I just don't see any way that the Legion take a game off the Mighty Horns. Prove me wrong. By all means, the Legion can prove me wrong. I could be walking away tomorrow from a 3-0 Legion win, and it would shock me. I could be walking away from a 3-1 Mighty Horns win, and it would shock me. But that's the fun of Smite. You never know what's going to happen until you actually play it. And these are just one idiot's predictions. But all right. I've said my piece on the Shallows. I've gone through all 3 brackets. So one more time, let's just go through these one by one, the matchups that we'll be seeing this weekend. Remember, the Shallows match will be casted tomorrow at 8 or 7, whenever the match is being played. I forget when it is. Deep Sea will be casted on Saturday at 8 and then or 7. I know that's going to be at 7. I'm sorry. Is it at 7? Is the match at 7, Buckwheat? Because we're casting your set live. Yes. I know it is going to be a best of 5, so it very well could go very late. Should be 7. Okay, so, well, let's go in backwards order then. So, Shallows Division Championship between the Mighty Horns and the Legion. That's going to be casted tomorrow at 7, and this is going to be a live cast. And even if it is a stomp, it's going to be a fun one. It's always fun to watch these teams go at it, and it's always a blast to cast. But my prediction was 3-0 to the Mighty Horns. Remember, that's going to be live here on this Twitch channel tomorrow at 7 p.m., so you definitely don't want to miss it. Moving on to the Deep Sea Division. We have the Ferrymen versus the Journeymen. This is going to be casted on Saturday at 7 as well. And I've said the Journeymen are going to win this 3-2. I think this is the best set and the most fun set of the championships this weekend. And I just realized I never talked about the third place matches. I think there's only one left because we have already seen the Frost Pups beat the Apprentices in third place match. Which, shout out to the Frost Pups, man. So hold on, let's go back to this bracket real quick, the Shallows bracket, and so we can shout out the Frost Pups. They just took third place. And I know you can't see it because I accidentally put the Swarm in there. But the Frost Pups were the 6th seed. They had to go through the fledglings, which I think was a team that could go toe-to-toe with the Legion. And I think the fledglings were a team that could beat the Legion in a very thrilling set. And the Frost Pups went out and didn't just win. They won 2-0 over the Fledglings. Shout out to the Frost Pups, man. They had a fantastic postseason. Obviously, they lost 2-0 to the Legion. But then they went out and beat the Apprentices. And the Apprentices, I've made up my mind, they are the 5th best team when it comes to laning phase, by the way. Because I put both the Fledglings and the Frost Pups above them. But I honest to God thought that the Apprentices would have won this set against the Frost Pups because of their team fight. But they didn't. The Frost Pups won 2-1 in this third place match and end up taking third place in the Deep Sea Division. Huge bounce back by these Frost Pups, a team that barely got in, by the way. They had to rely on the Astroducks losing their last couple sets in order to get in. The Frost Pups, shout out to y'all. You really did work to get that third place spot. But anyway, that rant over. Going back to the Deep Sea Division, we still have to watch this third place set between the Starhoppers and Raptors. I think that's gonna be a fantastic set to watch. If the teams do show up, they might be feeling like there's not as much at stake, which is totally possible. You never know what's going through players' minds, but I think this is going to be a fantastic set to watch. And if both teams have their entire rosters there, I think I would give it to Starhoppers 2-1. But man, that'd be a fun set to watch. But we're not streaming that one. Instead, we are casting the Ferrymen versus the Journeymen on Saturday at 7 p.m. And my prediction was Journeymen win over the Ferrymen 3-2. I think this will be a fantastic set. You definitely don't want to miss it on Saturday. And then we move on to Sunday, where we will be casting the Foremen versus the Patricians. And if you want to watch very good with the SPL over, if you want to watch very good players go at it head to head, this is where you want to go. Foremen versus Patricians. Insanely good teams, stacked teams. The Patricians, they got here. They had to fight to get here. The Foremen, they kind of just got a free pass. Patricians, I think they take a game off the Foremen, but I think this will be a 3-1 for the Patricians. And with that, that is going to be all. A relatively shorter stream today. I don't know if I can say it's short. We've been here an hour and a half. How do I still have a voice? I have no clue. Life of a caster, I guess. But hey, that's going to be all. Again, as a reminder, do not forget to show up tomorrow at 7 for the Mighty Horns versus Legion. We will be casting that live. It's going to be a lot of fun. And it is a best of 5, so anything, and I do mean anything, can happen. But for now, that's going to be it for me. My name has been Raptor. You have been the beautiful Quackers and Quackettes of the Quack and Smite League. That was a lot of quacks. And in the words of my... Is he even my co-host anymore? Yeah, he's my co-host. My co-host, the Char Goat, who couldn't be here today. But in his wise words, duck it.